Here's award-winning Aboriginal artist Danny Eastwood with his dot painting of Uluru, Ayers Rock, with a couple of kangaroos bouncing across the desert. I described the scene to an AI, and this is what it came up with. I'm not suggesting this is better than Mr. Eastwood's version, but it certainly was quicker. I guess he would have spent at least a few weeks or perhaps months painting the original, while this AI version took me a couple of minutes to write the prompt. Now, of course, I could have done the same thing with any other artist or painting. This is The Scream by Norwegian artist Edvard Munch, and here's the AI version, which took about 30 seconds. Again, I'm not saying which is better, but clearly we all know which one was quicker. Many of you might argue that this isn't art, it's just mimicry of art, and I think that is true to some extent. Although some others might argue that all art is essentially mimicry, in that people are inspired by other artists when creating their own artworks. I could also agree to some extent with that. But the problem that arises with AI creating art is the issue of theft. Some artists are claiming that these large AI models are being trained on real pieces of art, and therefore anything created by them is essentially stolen, the proceeds of crime. The Guardian reported in February, for example, mass theft. Thousands of artists call for AI art auction to be cancelled. The artists allege that the AI models used to create many of the works were trained on copyrighted material without permission. Although, again, I would raise the argument that a budding young art student is also essentially using other people's copyrighted artwork to learn their craft. They will naturally be inspired by other people's pieces when painting a picture or creating a song using their favourite elements in new pieces. Is AI that much different? But when it comes to Aboriginal art, it's not just theft, it's cultural theft. Thanks to the viewer who highlighted this. The ABC reported, calls to protect Indigenous intellectual property from AI cultural theft. They noted that AI supercomputers can scrape the internet to interpret tens of thousands of years of First Nations cultures in just a few seconds. In the article, they basically show a whole bunch of AI-generated Aboriginal art and interview artists who deem it cultural appropriation and disrespectful. They interviewed Dr. Terry Janke, who is a lawyer and considered a leading international authority on Indigenous cultural and intellectual property. She told the ABC, AI has no dreaming, it has no kinship, country or cultural obligations. It doesn't understand cultural protocols about whether certain images come from places that need to be respected or whether it should make versions of them. What we're seeing now in the age of AI is that these things are created and they're put up on print-on-demand sites. AI gets away with it, and that really harms people in their own health and well-being. This results in a flattening of culture by adapting real and sacred stories, taking away diversity rather than preserving it. It has not really engaged in the very first step, which is First Nations people should be the ones to say who reproduces the culture. Really? First Nations people should be the ones to say who reproduces the culture? What about everything else that AI can do? What about recipes? Recipes have a very strong cultural connection. An AI can easily create a recipe for, say, a pizza. Should we not allow this as it's taking away the culture of Italy? What about architecture? An AI can design a building that looks like it belongs in the ancient Greek city of Athens. Should the modern Greeks have to approve every single one of those designs? Or what about music? We can ask an AI to create a piece in the style of a traditional Scottish folk tune. Should we have to ask the Scottish people for permission every time that happens? Where does this stop? But what about everything else that AI can do? What about computer programming or coding? So many people are going to lose or have already lost their coding jobs due to AI. Should computer coders be able to sue AI companies? What about translators and proofreaders? AI can pretty much do most of that work now. Should everyone be able to sue AI companies because it's making their jobs obsolete? That's kind of like horse groomers suing the car companies, or telegram delivery boys suing the internet. The point is, it's not just Aboriginal art that is impacted by AI. Everything and everyone will eventually be affected by AI if they haven't been already. In the ABC article, they interview Birunga Wirajuri, a visual artist and gallery founder based in Brisbane. He wasn't too impressed with AI-generated Aboriginal artwork, saying, "It's Colonization 101, going for us as a resource, but failing to invest in understanding the tangible and intangible elements of our cultural priorities. It's quick, it's easy, it's cheap, but it just further diminishes our value." I guess the point I'm trying to make is that the ABC are trying to make out that AI is going after Aboriginal people and their culture, when in fact AI is going after everything. It's not discriminatory in that sense. Its developers are literally feeding it anything and everything. The debates over cultural theft and job displacement are really asking the same question. Who gets to benefit from this new technology, and at whose expense?